Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, family. Welcome to Numbers Matter, where we pay universal numeric interpretive tribute to people, places, and things. I am your host, Queen B. This is episode 10, where we're going to be talking about personal years, and we have a special guest to come have that conversation with us, Miss Grace Sarkor. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her to the stage. Peace, Queen.
Hey,
Welcome.
hi.
How are you?
Thank Good. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation.
I'm very excited too. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to ask you first before we get started, where are you? Because I know you travel. So tell us where you're broadcasting from right now.
Yes, it is currently Monday for me, and I'm in Bali. So it's always funny because I'm just a day ahead, which is nice, but also a little confusing timing wise. But yeah, I'm in Bali, Indonesia, specifically Ubud, which is like the spiritual yogi kind of center of Bali. Yeah.
That is so awesome. And I love that you just travel at will. And you also have a traveling business that you help people travel. So we'll get into all that as we go along through the conversation. So I just want to welcome you again to BTV and Numerologics. I'm so happy to have you here. Now, you are an astronumerologist. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how you got started and interested in astronumerology.
Yes, so funny. I actually saw Lloyd Strayhorn's video on TikTok one time, and I saw that he was talking about, I think it was number 3 or something, and I was like, huh, this is interesting, but it wasn't my number or my birthday, so I kind of swiped
Mhm.
away. And then not a week later, my partner at the time actually bought his course and was like, hey, I think you'd be interested in this. So then I just have been obsessed ever since. And yeah, I just learned the numbers really for myself. And then recently last year I kind of decided, okay, I should share this information with more people and just put myself out there. So now I actually do readings and I've created products, and yeah, now I'm not just doing it for myself because it's just such good information. I'm sure you feel the same. Like there's just so much we can learn from our numbers. So
It is good information, and there is so much to learn, like you said. Even if you just focus on one kind of niche
yeah.
within astronumerology, there's so much to learn and there's so much that you can do to help other people. So yeah, I definitely feel the same way. So I think that's awesome. So tell us about everyday numbers. You chose that name as your business name for numerology. So talk about everyday numbers and talk about why you chose that name.
Yeah, I really wanted numerology to be as simplified and something that people could use every day. So that's quite literally why I named it that. I just really wanted people to have these complex kind of topics because, like you can go so deep on so many of these topics. And sometimes that can be overwhelming, especially today where there's so much information about the moon and the stars. And if you know astrology, there's just a lot tied into this space. So I wanted to create something that's modern and simple that people can literally just get high level takeaways and walk away with something they can use every day to better their lives. So that's why that is the name. I wanted to keep it simple and sweet.
That's great. That's great. So I want to make sure everybody can get to see the queen. If you want to get a reading with her, you can visit her website at everydaynumbers.card.co, and you see it up
Yeah.
there. It is 2 R's, and I will absolutely have this in the description by the time you guys are watching this. So make sure you hit the queen up. Just check out her site. She's some good information on there. So that's what it's all about, supporting each other. So I'm so happy to have you here. And of course, you can follow her on Instagram at Everyday Numbers with 2 S's. And then you can follow her on TikTok at Everyday Numbers with 1 S. So thank you so much, Queen, for being here. And let's talk about your planner. So I want to pull your planner up on the screen. Talk about your planner because this is something that you wanted to talk about. And then we'll get into some stuff with the personal years and what the planner's talking about. Let me put it up on the screen so we can just let everybody kind of see what it is. And then you guys, if you want to get the planner, I'll have the description down in the description box, and you can also access it through the Queen's website.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Correct,
I the
Queen?
planner was really kind of an invention for
There we
myself, and
go.
then again I felt like I needed to share because I really have been into the personal year, personal month, personal week. So I've been wanting to just know how to optimize basically my year. And I'm someone who always I love journaling and I love planners. And I wanted to create something that used the numbers. So essentially, it breaks down your whole personal year. It starts with, okay, what is your year theme? What are some key takeaways for this year? Just really understanding, yeah, the overview of your personal year. And then I break it down by month. So I give themes, different energy insights, affirmations. There's a ton of journal prompts. And then I have a calendar for each month. I circle your best days for each month. And I obviously highlight the person's birthday. And then I put their personal weeks. So just guidance to kind of help throughout the year. So, okay, if I'm in a 3 personal month, I'm probably going to be going out more. I'm probably going to be having a lot of social interaction, networking. How can I optimize this month to my advantage? And yeah, it just helps with overall reflection and making sure that you're aligned with what you want out of the year. So yeah, that's my planner in a nutshell. It's very detailed, but again, simplified so that it's very high level. Okay, what is my monthly theme? Oh, partnership, collaboration. Okay, knowing that, now I can operate a little bit more aligned. So, yeah.
Absolutely, Queen. I think that's brilliant. I love the aesthetic look of it. I love the colors that you're using and all of that. So I think this is good, guys. So definitely you guys want to get your planner because it's only $27 and this can really help you guide you through the rest of the year where the year is really just starting to kick off. We know the new year actually really starts in March. So we're about to
Right.
really actually kick off the new year, right? So it's no time like the present to go visit the website and make sure you support the planner. It's something that definitely can help you and it's cost effective, which is rare these days.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. Especially planners. I mean, it's interesting because this planner actually gives you direction versus planners. You're kind of giving the planner direction, if that makes sense. You're writing all your to-dos, which is great for
Right,
organization, but this one's more detailed, more specific to the individual.
right, right. So what do you think, Queens, with the personal years? So we can maybe just run through 1 through 9 if you want. And really the
Yeah.
same with the personal year is going to be the same energy with your personal month. It'll be the same energy with your personal day and so on and so forth. Just with the year, obviously it's a more generalized energy that you'll really be experiencing throughout the whole year. So now before we even get into that, let's talk about this year because we're in a 9 universal year.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
me, how has the 9 universal year been treating you?
Honestly, it's been pretty great so far. Had I've noticed a lot of endings in my life currently, a lot of letting go, which is really
Mhm.
nice because what I'm seeing is that the second I let go of something that I've been holding on to, whether it's like a mindset I've had or just like even physical locations, I've had some hiccups since moving to Bali and I've been like, oh man, okay, like this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And then something greater literally the next day will happen and all of my dreams are kind of starting to come true. So it's been a really nice year for definitely manifestation is really powerful. Like I will think something and the next day in an unexpected way, it'll come to me. Or, the next couple of days, but it happens much quicker than definitely last year. And yeah, lots of closure,
Mhm.
which is nice. How about you? How's your year been?
That's good. Well, for me, it's been a good year so far. I've been blessed. It has been a little tumultuous. 9 is a direct opposition to my individual
Uh,
frequencies. So, I'm a two person, so it's been a little bit of a ride, but grateful, grateful. A lot of the things that I put forth are coming true. Just like you said, the manifestation piece to that 9
so
universal year is something, isn't it? Um, so I think it's been okay.
powerful.
I'm doing a good job of taking my own advice and just trying to keep myself balanced. It's easy for us as astronumerologists to come on here and tell other people how to balance their energy or how to do this or do that. But if you're not doing that yourself, you're not really the true expert. So I've been really trying to hone in on that and just use the techniques that I set forth for people, and it's been helping. It really has. It's been helping me to weather the storms. But again, I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful. So no complaints. Just going
Yeah.
to obviously keep on pushing and keep on moving. And not only is it a 9 universal year, I'm actually in a 1 personal year. So I do have my own personal energy. This is usually a good year for me. It's a good year for me to begin new things and manifest those things, working toward the ending of it. So it's really usually a good energy for me. But I just think the way it came in, it was kind of tumultuous. And just the climate in the US altogether, I think right now is a little bit of an upheaval, which is not surprising since we have entered the age of Aquarius. It's okay. We just take the good with the bad and keep on going.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to deal with the 9 universal year because it's really
Right.
its own strong energy and you just ride the wave.
I agree. And too, there's so much change that's going to happen, so it's easy to get stuck in either the positive or the negative. But I think for me, it's been helping to remember, okay, there's a lot of waves that's going to happen here, so let's just keep going. There's the change is going to come, so I don't want to sit in it, and
Right.
dwell too much. Because I think with the nine energy, there's that nostalgia and looking back and kind of that deep emotional inner turmoil a lot of the time. So I've
Hmm.
been really working towards like, okay, I'm just gonna let it go, gonna surrender,
Hmm.
be patient, because better is coming.
Yes. And you know what? Being patient is key. Actually, that's one of the balancing techniques that I say to use with that 9 energy
Yeah.
because patience is one of the positive higher frequencies, the two characteristic patience. That's how you got to deal with it. You just got to balance the energy and you'll be fine. So that's cool. So what personal year are you in right now?
I am in an 8 personal year. That's cool that
Ooh.
you're in a yeah, I'm in an 8 and I am loving it so far. I was actually quite nervous because
Mhm.
my best number is actually 1, and then I also am a 7 life path. So I was like, I don't know how this 8 year is gonna go for me, but I came into it off of the 7 personal year, and
Mhm.
I'm really worked through what I needed to in that 7 year, and I really did the work, even though it was painful. It helped me so much to just get my mental right, and now I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I can put myself back out there. I'm doing a lot more than I was last year, business wise. So it's been good. It's been I'm grateful for an 8 personal year. I am.
So that's great. So I'll talk a little bit about that. The 8 personal year to me is the bounce back year. That's what I call it.
Mm,
Because after you've gone through that 7 personal year, like you said, and it's not really just the 7 personal year, right? Because it's really the two previous years. It's the 6 personal year and
yeah,
the 7 personal year that you just came through. Because both of those 6 and 7 personal years are the tide is out. The tide is
right,
out. It's a receptive time. It's a time to be the 6 years, the time to be home with family and community and balancing those things with your career and your business or whatever you started, nourishing it in that 6 cycle. And then when you get
right,
to that 7 cycle, that's also a tide out cycle. It's way out because we know 7 is so introspective. Going through 2 years like that, the six, and that's always how it is because that's the cycle, right? 7 comes after 6. So you're
yeah,
always going to go through a 6 personal year and then a 7 personal year. And then when you get back to the 8 personal year, now this is your time to bounce back. This is a end cycle. It's totally an end tide. It's a power cycle. It's a cycle of
yeah,
harvest. It's a cycle of if you did the work, like you just said, whatever you did the work and you nourished and you brought through and it was worthy, you're going to get that reward in that 8 year. That's the year of karma. So whatever work you put in is what you're going to get out in that 8 personal year. And what I'll also add to that for you is your 8 personal year is always in conjunction with a 9 universal year. Okay.
mm,
So let me just grab what I call that because I did name it, I think. Let me
mm,
see if I have that one. So you're a
yeah.
8 with a 9. Hold on 1 second. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Two very strong energies for sure.
So what it is, it's very two strong energies. So what it is you have the energy that your tide is way in because it's a power cycle, it's a financial cycle. And then you have
Yeah.
the 9 energy, which is the energy of manifestation, dreams come true. Some endings, things that need to be ended, but it's that manifestation energy. So now you have the power of the 8 and the finance to manifest your money dreams or to manifest whatever you want to manifest in this energy that you are you know, in lockstep with. This is your energy all the time. Whenever you're in the 8 personal, you're in a 9 universal. It's really a power cycle. I call it a power cycle. And it's really a time for you to take that, take it by the horn. So everything that you're doing this year, just continue to do it. I love the way you're stepping out. Um, I've been liking all your posts. I've been seeing it. I checked out the TikTok. You're doing very well over there. Um, and I just think it's great what you're doing because it's really showing the energy that you're in is showing through your cycle right now. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I thank you. Again was nervous to kind of step up and step out, but it's been, I can see that I'm getting the reward, and I've been working on a lot of these things. I mean, my travel brand, for example, I've been working on that since I was in college, and that's feels like that was at least 10 years ago now, so it's really nice to see things coming to fruition and getting the recognition. And just my whole thing is I just want to help people. It's not really about me. I just feel like I'm the vessel, but it's nice that I'm really connecting now with those people because I'm thinking much bigger, and I have no fears really holding me back anymore like I used to. So now I'm like, oh, the sky is really the limit. Like,
Mhm.
let me get into this and step out and make these moves. And yeah, I've been very focused on career versus, I can, what you're saying about the 6 completely makes sense. I was way more focused on relationships and yeah, even my
Mhm.
health back then, and just a lot of that 6
Mhm.
energy, right? And then 7, I was like,
Yep.
oh, yeah, I need to take care of me now. And now I'm like, all right,
Yep.
let's do it. Let's get to it.
Yeah,
But
because now
yeah,
you get, like I said, you get to that finance and it's a business cycle. So everything that you're doing is showing fruitfulness. And this is the energy. And this is why I love numbers. This is why numbers matter, you guys. And this is why you have to get Grace's planner because this is the type of
yeah,
information that you can find in the planner. You can find that what's the energy that I'm supposed to be in, and it's really life changing once you start tuning into it. And I always let people know, start tuning into it, start paying attention. And then after about a month or two, you'll start seeing results of knowing and just being in that energy, being in that correct energy when the time is right. And then understanding if certain things come up and it's not a time to be out, maybe that
hmm
is a time where you pass up that invitation, you know?
right. Right. No, that's 100% accurate. Even
Yeah,
my
because yeah.
friends, I'll tell them like, oh, okay. I gave them all the planner, of course, and they're like, oh my gosh, my personal year. I have a friend, she's in a 7 personal year, and she was like, wow, I've been feeling this way,
Mhm.
but I didn't. It's like we just are putting the words a lot of the time to how people are feeling, right? And then they're like, you
Yes,
feel that validation, and you're like, okay, now I know I'm on the right track, and that is so affirming for people, and they can really expand on what
right.
they want to do now because they have that like yes from the universe, right? Like, okay, I was feeling a little more isolated. I've been forcing myself to go out. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. Actually, this is a 7 year.
Yeah,
Take it easy, take it easy this year, and really reflect and figure out what you want to do. And she's like, oh my gosh, okay, that totally resonates. So most people, it's really funny how they already feel this way, and then we're really just amplifying it for
yes,
them, right? But how in your
yes,
1 year, how
yes,
do you feel? How new beginnings for you? Are you planting a lot of new seeds? Are you starting a lot of new
yes. This
projects?
is a
What's
yeah, this is really a new seed. This numeralytics is really what's new for me this year. And it's interesting because in my this is a power cycle for me also because every 9 universal year, I'm in a 1 universal year. So I'm always
Mhm.
1 year ahead of the
Yeah.
energy of the universe. So I feel like it gives me that kind of a head start. It gives me that jump on things. And it also allows me to tap into the energy of the 9 to manifest what I want, to really see through what's working for me and what's no longer serving me, to get rid of that. And then I also have that one energy to start something new and really be bold. And for me, since I'm a Leo, a one universal year is even more important for me because that's the
Yeah.
period of the one. So it's always been a very fruitful year for me. When I've looked back, now knowing the knowledge that I have, when I've looked back at my other 9-1 cycles, because
Mhm.
that's the way that I look at the personal cycles. I call them up cycles, universal personal cycles. And so that's the way I look at them in conjunction. So whenever I'm talking to someone about their personal year, I'm always, you know, entering that universal energy with the personal energy, just so they have that awareness of what's going on in the world around them, because that's absolutely
Yeah.
still going to affect you. But your personal energy is what you really should be focused on more, because that's obviously what you live with every day. But yeah, all of my 9-1 cycles have been very fruitful. Actually, in my last 9-1 cycle, which was 2016, I started BTV that cycle. I literally started
Oh,
BTV that cycle. Mhm. So
wow.
this is my fruitfulness of that coming through, some dreams coming true with that, some endings with some of the stuff that I'm doing there, but some transformations as well. So it's all of that 9 energy. And then again, now starting Numerolitics. I started this really in the preview season of 2024, which is just like starting it in a year one personal year. The idea of the conceptualized
Right.
at the end of 2024. And now this is me really nourishing it and putting my all into it and just kind of stepping out into it. So yeah, it's been interesting. They're always interesting. And then again, tumultuous because I got, but it's kind of balancing because the 9 is in opposition to me, but the 1 is in favor of me. And I also
Yeah.
have some favor with the 9 because 9 in a minor way rules Leo, rules 9.
Right.
So the negative period of the 9. It's a give and take, but it's really good. I can't complain. It's been a good year. And then it's the beginning of the cycle. So when you guys are in a one personal year, or I will say the one, because we're talking about personal years, this is a time to, like Grace said, plant new seeds, start new opportunities, strike out on your own, especially if it's a one personal year for you and you're born a Leo, or you're born on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, or the 28th of the month. It's more important for you. That's the energy of it. You want to just step out on your own and be forceful with it. And you can
Right.
listen to others' advice, but at the end of the day, your advice is the only advice that you should take in a one personal year. So
Right. Yeah.
I may be
Definitely an
able to go through this
independent
cycle.
cycle.
Yeah, it's an independent
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
It is.
And I did want to comment on you being in kind of this opposition year of the 9 versus the 2. It's interesting because there's two ways you could look at it, right? Like, and I think you're looking at it in the best way of like, okay, well, I know I have that patience, the balance from my 2 energy. So bringing that to the 9 is so helpful. Like you can really take your strengths from your best number and bring it to your opposition, and there's probably lessons that you need to learn from that 9 year, instead of looking at it like challenges. I'm really big on that because I like, with my clients, I like to tell people like, okay, here's the challenges, but like, don't look at it as a roadblock. It's better to know everything, I feel, good and bad, so that you can prepare again better and be like, okay, how can I bring, yeah, my patience to this year when I know this is a year where people are going to be a little impulsive, right? Like, and in you doing that, it's going to help so many people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I have a strategy that I do with the balance and the esoteric energy with that. So since the 2 and the 9, and I just look at the opposites, because you're the
Mhm.
opposites and they're really just the same on the continuum, different
Yeah.
vibrations of the frequency. And I talked about this when I went on Astro Numerology Revealed on Kimberly's channel. Shout out to the queen. And I talked about this, and I talk about when you are, because I talked about the 9 universal year. So when you're in that 9 universal year, you have to use all of the high vibrational characteristics of that too. Even if you're not a 2, still that advice is for everybody. And the same goes so on and so forth. So it's just really something, and it's really interesting. Um, it's an interesting way to look at it. But I like to make sure I look at all angles. I take it all into consideration. And that's what we should all do. That's why it's important to know your numbers, guys. So if you want to get an astronumerology reading, make sure you visit Grace's website at Everyday Numbers. Oops, hold on. Make sure you visit her website at everydaynumbers.card.co. So you can get a reading. She has very different tiers on there. They're very affordable. And, get that energy of what you should be doing, where you are, at least what year are you in now, especially in relation to it being a non-universal year. You want to know what personal cycle you're going through so you can kind of make sure you're doing the right things and not putting yourself in danger and not putting yourself in harm's way, because some of those things could really happen.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about a two personal year now. So we just talked about the one theme. So with a two
Yeah.
personal year, it's like patience, right? Like teamwork,
Balance. Yeah.
cooperation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collaboration. It's
Hmm.
definitely an interesting cycle because obviously coming off of that 1 year where a lot of people go hyper independent and yeah, are just you have more of a plan. Okay, what do I really want to do? What seeds have I planted? I think patience is key for the two because you just planted the seeds in the year before. So they're not going to bloom fully yet. So patience is key because things might move a little slower than one could like. But I think the beauty in two is like, all right, let's say you have a business idea that you really thought through. Now's the time to bring people in that you trust, of course, and value. Like bring in the experts who can help you because you can't do it all. That is one of the pitfalls of the one energy, trying to do it all yourself because you go
Yes.
faster with a team. So really being intentional with who you're collaborating with, who you're around, energy wise, making sure that it's a positive group or person, because more people are going to be attracted to you in your 2 year as well. That is also a good number for love and partnership in the romantic sense as well, right? So yeah, patience, balance, making sure that you're not giving too much to others and not pouring back into yourself is really important for that 2 year. But two is really also about the details, right? Like making
There you
sure that
go.
your ideas tightened up.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Analyzing those small details. And that's why it's out tight, because you're supposed to be inward in handling those
Yeah.
details of that one seed that you planted, the small things that it takes to get that business off the ground, like you said, bringing experts in, fine tuning things, making sure you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. And that's what that energy is for. That's why it's slow changing, it's slow moving. So that's great. So let's get in now. Okay, so now we've done this, we've cooperated, we've had teamwork, we slow changed, we slow moved. And let's also give people the energy of the two. If you are in the 2 year, if you are a Cancer or born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, 25th, or the 29th of the month, the two personal year is going to be an interesting year for you. And I don't always say good because it's not always good. It just means it's interesting or significant in some way. It could be any type of life changing event that could be good or negative, how you view it. But there are negative things that can happen to you when you're in your energy of the same frequency that you are. So now let's go ahead and let's move into the three now. So now when we get into the three personal year,
Yeah. Three is fun. Three is where the fun
there you
starts to
go.
happen again. Anyone who's in
Woohoo!
their 3 month or three personal year, yeah, you're expressive. This is a time to create. Like really put yourself out there creatively, whether you're a writer, you're into I think everybody's an artist in their own way. And a lot of people would disagree with that. They're like, oh, I'm not creative, I'm not artistic. Creative doesn't just mean you have to be a musician or a painter, right? Like there's so many other ways to express yourself, and you're going to be having a lot of conversations, networking opportunities. There's a lot of social happenings in that year for you, and just take advantage of it. Like lean into the communication and yeah, say how you feel and really be honest because I think the 3 year can be fun, but also it's important to have deeper conversations as well. It can be a light kind of year, and sometimes people can miss that depth in a lot of the things that they want to do. So things can stay at the surface level, but it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. And that expressive creation and expansion, there's going to be a lot of new things coming up, and those ideas are just going to be getting bigger and bigger in the
Yeah, those
in the
ideas are going to
3 year.
get bigger and bigger because Jupiter has entered the building. And
Yeah.
that luck and the expansion in that 3 year. And also everything you just said about the 3 year. And then what I'll note is be sure to, like she said, to make sure you're taking a look at the conversations you're having, because 3 to the negative can also denote gossip and scandals and different things like that. So you don't want to be too excessive. Also, it's, over and things, usually emotional indulgences, nerves, dealing with your nerves. So you want to make sure that you get your proper rest in a 3 personal year. Watch what you eat, because you can put on a little weight in that 3 personal year. So it's just excessive. So anything that it touches, anything that Jupiter touches, it magnifies it. So that could be anything. It could be your habits. So just watch any bad habits that you may have, because in that 3 year they can be exposed. And then what we'll say is, if you are a Pisces, or a Sagittarius, or born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, a 3 personal year is going to be more significant for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything to add
Mm,
to that, Queen?
no, that is spot on. Yeah, it's easy to get wrapped up in the negative, especially the gossip with the 3 year. Especially if you don't
Yeah.
have that right group of people around you, it's easy to get wrapped up. So just be cognizant of that
Yeah.
for
I'll
sure.
point out something real funny about the 3 year, well, about that 3 energy. As you know, we're in a 3 universal month right now. So Dr. Umar is a 3 person,
Ah,
and he is in a 5 universal month. So that 3 and that 5 are opposition. He has opposition
mm,
right now with his daughter coming out and kind of speaking against him and saying he's a deadbeat and whatever. I'm not here to get into their personal business, but this is scandal for him. So this is, he's
yeah,
seeing some of that. He's seeing some of that come back to him, and he's a 3 person. So this is more poignant for him, and it's obviously a more heightened time because it's an opposition period for him. So not only is 3 a good period for him with the universal side, but personally, he's in a 5 personal month, and that could spell risk with the public to the negative, overindulgence. Both the 5 and the 3, their negative is both an overindulgence. So this is what we see of this energy, guys, and this is why we do what we do. This is why numbers matter. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's this interesting that that's happening right now in that 3 universal month
it
with
is.
that 3 person, and he's actually in a 5 personal month. So I thought that was really interesting. And not only that, I think today isn't today a 3 universal day. I think today's a 3 universal day, and this is today. He put like a whole new post up today. And if it's a 3 universal day, that means it's a 5 personal day for him. So,
Right.
he's in the thick of it right now, and I expect to see more of this as we get through the rest of this energy through Pisces season. That energy is still going to go through the rest of March, I think, for him. So it's interesting, and
Yeah,
it'll be
that's
interesting to see how
really
that turns out.
right. Because I mean, 3 and 5 are both popularity numbers, right? Like
Yeah.
that recognition, that fame.
Yep.
So again,
That
that
public
juxtaposition.
factor. Yep.
That's yeah. I've been seeing all that, and
Yep.
that's really interesting about the numbers because
Really
it
interesting.
totally makes sense,
Yeah, I
huh?
picked up on it right away. As soon as I
Yeah,
seen it, I
that's
said, you know what, ain't he a 3 person? I said, and we in a 3 universal month. So me, then automatically I go in and do all his numbers. But yeah. So so interesting,
that's
very
the
interesting stuff. What'd you
yeah, the
say?
two in you. The two in you. You're so detailed. I love it. I love it. Like
It's
you
the
are
2,
so.
and
She
then
is a.
oh, thank you, Queen. It's the 2 in that 7, right? The 2 in the
Yeah,
detail, and then that 7 going down that rabbit hole, and keep researching and
totally.
gathering information and finding out why. I got to get to the answer. So that's why
I love
numbers matter. Do you know your numbers? If you don't know your numbers, make sure you go visit the Queen at everydaynumbers.car.co, and she is going to hook you up. You can get your planner there that can give you All of this stuff that we're giving you right now, you can have your own personal one that will give your own personal energy. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. Okay, so now we did the 3, so let's get into, now you're going into a 4 energy, a 4 personal year. So now you've coming out of this party mode and the social light mode and the abundance and the growth mode. Tell us what happens when you get into that 4 energy.
4 is a very drastic switch from 3 energy, right? Like 4 is the foundation. 4, you're going to feel the need to be stable. You're going to be more grounded. You're going to be thinking about, okay, what, who, where, why, what, the whys behind everything that you kind of were doing and are thinking about. And you're going to be really putting in the groundwork for whatever it is that you want. So if that's career moves, if that's building your business, in your actual personal home life, like 4 is definitely the stability and the structure and getting your systems in order. And also 4 is a very odd and unusual number as well. So there's a lot of unexpected energy happening in the 4 year. In romantic sense, a lot of times someone from the past will come back that you weren't expecting at all. I mean, even in business, right? Like unexpected greetings, and you're going to be meeting a lot of people that you just couldn't have, that might be odd and unusual themselves, right? And health wise, you might be careful health wise in the 4 year, I would definitely say, because you can have misdiagnosis. You can actually get the wrong prescription a lot of the time. So just double check with everything health wise in the 4 year, because there's a lot of odd mistakes that can happen. But yeah, 4 is a really interesting number. You're going to be really focused, though, very focused. You're not really going to want to be going out as much. You're going to be potentially overworking yourself. So be cognizant of that as well, because the focus is amazing and it's great to channel it to build what you want. But just make sure you're not neglecting other areas of your life in that 4 year. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think in that 4 year, like you said, it is the foundation. So whatever you've been doing, whatever seeds you planted in 1, after you came out of 3, with the abundance and the growth of that idea, now 4 is the time for you to really do the work. It's time for you to hanker down, do the hard work that it takes to continue this thing. Do the necessary changes, do the fine tuning. It's going to be restriction. You're going to have to restrict things that, with the business or with the idea or with the venture. You're going to have to put restrictions in place. You're going to have to rework some things. That's the energy it brings. And definitely it's a health cycle number, like you said, all of those things you said. And what I'll add to that is also the number of odd and unusual accidents and or sudden accidents and injuries. So be careful, slow down, take your time on the road. Take your time when you're walking, don't walk too fast. Don't carry too many bags at once. Leave some in the car if you have to. Don't try to take, we try to take all the groceries in at once. And we're like, by the time we get in, like our arm is numb. So don't do that in a 4 cycle, because you might break something and it'd be sudden. So that really is that restrictive energy. It's got that aura of its original ruler, Saturn. So it's somewhat of a taskmaster with you, putting you to task, putting that work in. And like you said, the unexpected, the odd and unusual, that comes from its current ruler, Uranus. So that's the energy that it does bring. And, you got to put that work in, And then what I'll finish the 4 off with is, this is for people who are born in Aquarius or a Leo. I should have did that for Leo too. Aquarius or a Leo, or if you're born on the date that adds up to the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, 10th, 19th, 22nd, not the 28th, or the 31st of the month. So if you're born under those numbers, or an Aquarius or Leo, this 4 year is going to be more significant for you. And then once we come out of the restrictive foundational piece of the 4 year, let's talk about what happens when we get into that 5 energy the following year.
5 is interesting. I noticed a lot of people have not a lot of excitement for a 5 year, which is interesting to me because I have 5 in my chart, but 5 is all about adventure, freedom. It's similar to 3, but different enough. It's, again, more social. You're going to be potentially traveling a lot. There's a lot of opportunity for travel, but yeah, freedom, adventure, and just having new experiences. You're probably going to be picking up new hobbies, new habits. The thing again with the five, overindulgence is probably one of the biggest warnings of five. So just be really mindful of what habits you're picking up, because five is also a number of motion, movement, quickness. So a lot of quick decisions are usually made in the 5 year, which can be a good thing. If in the 4 year, it's a little more, okay, I'm really thinking everything through to the letter. And that is needed a lot of time, but sometimes you just have to make the decision, right? Like you need to make a decision either way, but just be careful with, again, the energies you're around, because people are going to be attracted to you. It's the most sensual number. So romantically, a lot of people are going to be trying to get you, trying to get you, have a lot of eyes on you, which is great, again, for recognition and trying to put yourself out there. Selling yourself this year, like selling your business and selling your ideas, is going to be so easy. If you want a promotion at work, it's going to be a piece of cake. People are just going to be handing you a lot of things, and be in the receiving energy, but just notice, okay, am I overindulging? Am I moving a little too quick? And am I not sticking to anything, right? Like sometimes you can move so quickly between habits and hobbies and activities that you're not really gaining a lot from any of them, because you're moving so quickly through everything. So yeah, five is an interesting year for sure. For sure.
It is. It's an interesting year. And what I'll add on to that is, so we've gone through the years, right? So we're building on this story, right? So we just came out of that 4
Yeah.
energy. Like you said, when you get to that 5 year, you've worked so hard in that 4 year, this is your reward. 5 year is your
Yeah.
reward. It's your time to play. It's your time to travel. Like you said, see new places, meet new people, come across a lot of different multifaceted things and ideas and opportunities. It's also some risk that is associated with this year in a way. You deal with some risk. It's the year of dramatic changes. It's also the pivot
Mhm.
year, I call it. So, whatever you've done, you're not comfortable with it or you don't like how it's going, five is your chance. It's your last chance before you get back to that 1 year to make a change. So, it's a really interesting year because oftentimes in the 5 year, like you said, the overindulgences are prevalent in that year. And what can end up happening is you burn yourself out. You can easily burn yourself out in a 5 year. It has the potential for nervous breakdown energy sometimes, because it's like I said, it's like
Yeah.
dramatic changes are happening. So it can feel like, like your whole world is crumbling in a way. And that's kind of to the negative, but it can feel that way. So some people just be mindful of, and this is for the 4 year too, be mindful of the way you think. Don't get too lost in your mood and your mode and your mind, because in both of those years, it can cause, like nervous breakdowns or mental health issues. So it's important to keep that in mind. So yeah, that's interesting to me with the five. And then so let's cap it off with the five. If you are born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month, or if you're a Virgo or Gemini, that five personal year will be more significant for you in some way. Then we're going into the 6 year, and I'm just going to steer us right into the 6 year because after you come out of that 5 year, and you've partied and you've like overextended yourself and you've traveled and you've done all these multifaceted things and you've made these changes with your business, or you haven't made any change with your business, but you've partied and you've expanded some things because you've been more risky in that year. Now when you get to the sixth personal year, you're going to have to make the adjustments for all that stuff you just did in that 5 year. So you're going to have to balance all of those things. You're going to have to make adjustments for them. It's going to be between your home, your family life. You're going to feel more inward. It's going to be time for you to make some serious decisions. It's a health cycle. So you want to be cognitive of that. In the sixth personal year, you might face some health issues, upper respiratory, if you're a woman, breast, different things like that, lungs. So you just want to be mindful of that in the 6 year. It's a out tide. So, it's not the time for you to be kind of that partying is over in the 6 year. Once you get to six, this is the great equalizer. This is the great balancer. And you're really going to have to take a look at everything that you did, really from 1 through 4, and especially what you did in that 5. you're going to have to balance for it. You're going to have to answer for it. And you're going to have to look at those receipts and make sure that you can balance that, because if not, it can overtake you. And then you can have some real serious issues in that 6 year where you're dealing with different issues that are going to arise because of all of that you did. And what I'll say is interesting about the 6 year is 6 years are often a year. It is a romance cycle. It's a romance and finance cycle. So I will say that. But the years also the years that most wars start. Most wars
Hmm.
jump off in the 6th year, in the sixth universal year, because with all of the stuff that went 1 through 5, if it cannot be balanced and worked on by that six, and you can't get through that six by the end of the six or within the middle of that 6 year, a war is going to pop off to bring balance, to bring adjustment. And if it has to do that, sometimes it does that by force. So when you look at some of the patterns, you see that a lot of the wars jumped off in the sixth universal year. Actually, the previous war with Hamas and Israel,
Hmm.
that just jumped off in that 2022, and that's a sixth universal year. That's when they really started that with that first bomb, which set the whole thing off, and then it went through the 7 year. So it's very interesting. What do you have to add on to that 6 year? Anything?
Yeah. No, I mean that's so accurate. 6 2 is ruled by Venus, right? So 6 is quite interesting because there's a real juxtaposition in 6 of yes, there
Yes.
is this leaning towards duty, answering those responsibilities. That's definitely key for 6, like you were saying. So you're gonna have to answer for sure. And if you keep avoiding the responsibilities, you'll feel that in the 8 year, especially when those debts are coming back. And yeah, 6 is also that Venus energy of beauty and harmony and appreciation and aesthetics. So you're probably going to be getting your home life together for sure, and hunkering down on what do I want my day to day to really be? What do I want this to really look like? Am I in a space I'm comfortable? You're going to be more tapped into your five senses. So you might redo
Hmm.
your home, reinvent your look, just really taking stock of also who's in your life, because it is such a relationship oriented number, and that love and the harmony within those relationships, maybe from the 5 year, a lot of them might not make it to the 6 year, and that's okay.
Right.
Those might
Yep.
have been associates, not working opportunities, which helped you at that time. But now it's like, okay, I'm getting serious. What do I really want out of a partner? It's also that pregnancy cycle, birth. So people around you or yourself might be going through, divorce, pregnancy, birth engagements. So there's a lot happening in the home life front for sure. So any social gatherings, it's probably going to be related to your close knit circle versus you going out there with all those people you met in the 5 year. That's, you don't really have time for that in the 6 year. And to on the money
Right.
note, you will get rewarded if you follow what you need to be doing, like to the T, right? And you really got to be detailed in what you're doing, but you will be rewarded because it is a money number. But yeah, the intention in the 6 year is really critical for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So not only will you be working on your home, but you might also find yourself going back to school to better further your
Yeah.
education or get that master's degree, so that's also an aspect of that you may find yourself doing in that sixth personal year. And like you said, six is ruled by Venus. So what that means is if you are a person who is born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month, or if you are a Taurus or a Libra, that would be a more significant year for you. And then go ahead and talk about the 7 personal year, Grace, since you just came out of one.
Yeah. 7 personal year is
God
something
bless you.
very unique. Yeah.
I know. I
It's
know.
unique.
Yes.
Because I'm also a
Yes.
Cancer.
Yes.
So that it hit me. It hit me
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm
Seven
interested to
personal
hear.
years. Yeah. It was a really challenging year, honestly, because I didn't want to accept what the year was bringing me. So anyone listening, some of these years you're probably like, I don't know if I want that year. We need the balance. We need all of these years because like you said, we're building a story, right? Like these are 9 year
Mhm.
cycles that we're going through. So it's each piece is necessary and they all fit in the order that it's supposed to make sense. So 7 yeah, you come off of that 6 year, and 7 is all about you, introspection. You're getting really deep about like, how am I moving in my life? Like, it's big about self-awareness. I learned so much about myself last
Hmm.
year, and a lot of them I faced hard truths, but that's just what it has to be. And it's also you're really in your mind the whole year. You're kind of wanting to isolate. I mean, I'm fully moved to an island in the 7 year. So I was like, I need to just cut the noise and the clutter and get on the other side of the world and just figure out what I need to figure out. You don't obviously have to move in the 7 year, but it's just getting away from the noise is really helpful, right? Like, because you come off of a lot of these years where people are in your ear, you're helping everybody else, but now it's time to just take a step back, take stock of how you're feeling, what you're going through. And I did notice too with the 7, anything you think essentially in the 7 year is going to come true. So if you're sitting there feeling
Hmm.
kind of sorry for yourself, which I was for a lot of the year, being transparent, that's what I got
Hmm.
in return. And then the second I changed my mindset to an abundance, positive mindset, I reaped the benefit of that pretty quickly. So with your 7 year, my biggest piece of advice is just don't be so hard on yourself and just lean into it, because it's only going to make you better on the other side. And it's okay to not feel the need to connect with everybody as much as you did the year before. It's okay to give that distance and just really dive deep. I also was able to really study numerology a lot more and just like different topics within spirituality. So you're probably going to have some leaning towards spiritual practice. It also is a religious number as well. So whatever that looks like for you, you're probably going to be diving deeper into those self growth kind of practices and whatever topics you've wanted to study. Like I got really deep in nutrition, and I was just like really getting into these topics, and everyone was like, okay, like, why are you like an expert on this now? But that's the energy of the 7. So you're going to be by yourself doing what you actually want to be doing and really researching. And yeah, it's an interesting one. Also, long distance travel in the 7 year as well. Going to foreign lands completely makes sense. Being near water is really helpful. So if you're feeling stressed, just try and go near any body of water. That really helps as well. Yeah. 7.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that makes sense because 7's the law of attraction, so that's true. Whatever you're thinking in that 7 year and that 7 energy is what you're gonna get, and you're right. When I went through my 7 personal year, it was pretty much the same as yours.
Yeah.
Very tumultuous, and like you said, you're a Cancer, I'm a 2 person, so that was even it's more poignant for both of us, and it really was a stressful time in the way that I was trying to do the wrong things at that time. I was acting as if I was in somewhat of a 8 year, but I was in a
Right.
7 year. Nothing was working out for me, and I couldn't
Hmm.
understand why. The only time that I figured it out is when I learned astronumerology. And then when I look back at
Right.
that cycle and I'm like, that's why. I wasn't supposed to be
Yeah.
doing that stuff. I wasn't supposed to be worried with the material. I was supposed to be spiritual. I was supposed to be introverted, focusing on myself, looking at my own flaws and just analyzing them to perfect them. I call the 7 energy, personal energy, reflect and perfect energy.
Like,
Observe, don't absorb energy. Because it's true. You want to reflect and perfect. You want to observe, don't absorb, because you can easily absorb the energy that you're in and go even more inward and cause yourself real mental strife in that year. So, just something for people to take heed on. And that's why numbers matter, guys. That's why I want you to make sure that you go visit the website and get this planner so you can be prepared for the rest of the year. And if you so fancy, you can get a reading from Grace to be even more personal, and she can give you even more insights into what's store for you. So make sure you guys go visit the Queen's website. All right, Queen. So let's round that 7 off. So, like you said, in the 7 personal year, that's important if you're a Cancer, like you said, in a minor way, Pisces, or if you're born on
yeah.
the 2nd, the 7th, 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month. That would be a more poignant time for you, a more significant time for you, and it may affect you in a higher frequency way. It might be more. of an impact on you. Get your numbers, guys. If you don't know your numeralytics, get your numeralytics, get your everyday numbers with Grace. Make sure you guys do this because it's important for your growth. All right, so let's go into the 8 personal year. I'll let you take this away since you're in your 8 personal year.
Yes, 8 is all about abundance, power, making moves, taking the bold action. So we're coming off the 7. You've grown internally. You're ready. Now it's time to shine, I would say. And in the 8 year too, like I've noticed, like the bigger I think, you realize how close you can get to it. So don't play it small in the 8 year. Be responsible, of course, but in your ideas and the actions that you're taking, just think bigger, like than you have in any of the other cycles, because you've been preparing for this moment for so long, right? You planted this seed years ago. So now it's time to bear the fruit of all of that labor and really get the recognition for all the projects that you've been doing. It's a really good career number as well, like getting those promotions, moving up. And yeah, your business is probably going to take off. You're financially going to be blessed, but it is again a karmic number. So there is the good and the bad to every number. Okay. Everybody always wants to just hear the good, but you got to know both the yin and the yang of life.
Absolutely.
But
You gotta know both people.
you have to know both. So some debts, anything unsettled debt wise, is going to come back. So just be prepared for that. And you probably already have an idea of what that would be. It probably won't be too much of a surprise. A lot of people from your past also might come back. So just kind of think, is this nostalgia or do I just need to let them go? And 8 is a travel number in the sense of you're probably going on business, right? Like it's a really good real
Mhm.
estate investment cycle as well. So traveling for business completely makes sense, or recognition. Maybe you're getting an award, maybe you're going to some sort of award ceremony or show. So that completely makes sense. But yeah, the 8 year, definitely be careful of burning out. I think rest, recover, create what you want to create, and then receive. Like that is my biggest kind of advice for the 8 year. Like just keep putting in the
Mm.
work. The work doesn't stop, but now it's going to be a little bit more seamless to what you're doing. You can start seeing the rewards, so that is also a good motivator to keep going. But you can't just work and not rest, because then you can block your own blessings that way. And I think 9, just be open to new opportunities and partnering with other masterminds, right? Like 8's a good
Mm.
time to meet really like-minded people who are on the same path or similar path as you. And I've noticed that, like, I'm really tuned into our numerology group. I mean, we have such great energy and such great minds. And I've just been meeting a lot of entrepreneurs myself. Also, 8, if you're still haven't started that business, really reconsider it this year, because 8 is a great entrepreneurial number as well. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll just add to that 8 is the number of legacy. So, whatever you did 1 through 7, if you did your work in 6 and 7 and you made it through the storm, you're in 8 now, baby. This is the time to go for it. Like she said, this is the time to make that investment. It's the time to move forward. It's the time to solidify everything that you've done. This is the time to reap that reward and solidify it and build your legacy and stand 10 toes down on your idea, on your business. You also 8 to spiritual numbers, so you may have more spiritual inclination this year. You'll also maybe dealing with some elders this year because it's the number of maturity. So ancestors might be visiting you in your dreams and different like things like that in that 8 energy year. 8 is the number of finance and romance. 6 is romance then
yeah.
finance. So yeah, in that 8 year, it's a pregnancy cycle, like the queen said. So just go for it. It's nothing like it. And if you are born on the 8th of the month, on the 17th of the month, or on the 26th of the month, you are an 8 person. Or if you are a Capricorn or in a minor way an Aquarius, you have 8 energy. And that 8 personal month or a personal year is going to be more poignant for you. It's more significant. So make sure you guys watch out for that energy. And then after we leave out of that legacy and that power cycle of the 8, we enter the last cycle, which is the 9 year cycle, which we're in a 9 universal year now. So go ahead, Queen, take it away with the 9 personal and 9 universal energy.
Yeah, 9 is such a beautiful number. So many the balance of nine is interesting. It's very extreme kind of number, but nine, again, letting go, closures, closing out what did not work. So you've had all these years prior. You can't hold on to those same beliefs that you had if they're limiting, those people, those habits that have not been serving you. You're going to feel it more dramatically in the 9 year. You're going to feel the need and the want to have some change. Also, bringing your back burner dreams to the forefront this year. What kind of has gotten left behind or lost in the shuffle? You just haven't had time for it. Bring those back, because again, dreams realized and that manifestation is really powerful in nine. Nine, like seven, is one of the two of the most intuitive numbers. So you're gonna know a lot before you can physically see what's going on, and you're gonna just have a lot of feelings and hunches, and you're probably gonna be right most of the time. So just really tune into, okay, what's serving me and what's not serving me. What do I really want my next cycle to look like? And how is that going to happen? And you're going to also get a lot of projects wrapping up, a lot of dreams fulfilled. So in this year, you'll see a lot of the fruits of your labor being kind of closed out and getting that recognition that you wanted. Also this year, really focus on helping others as well, because it is the humanitarian number, and you will just be rewarded. Not to the point where you're exhausting yourself and taking on everyone's energy, because that can happen with a nine. Nine does have really powerful energy, and people are drawn to that, but just be careful with that. But also remember, like, give back when you can, and it will be a reward for you later on. And patience, I think, also in a 9 year is important, because 9 years people can move really fast, and it's kind of it's ruled by Mars, so that's the war planet, aggression. So people can be there's a little tension. There's a little tension, but if we cut it with the patience and the compassion, we can get that balance back for sure. And 9, also long distance travel might be in your cards. It's the most international number. You're also probably going to meet a lot of, again, new people who might have a completely different background than you, or just from different countries, just something you're not really used to in your day to day. So just be open to that, because 9 is one of the most international numbers as well. And yeah, just my biggest advice for everybody with this 9 year is just don't hold on to what you don't need. You do not want to carry it in the next cycle with you. And by September, it's going to feel really dramatic. You're probably already feeling it now, but when September hits, that 9 month and the 9 universal year, like, everything for you, if you're in a 9 year right now, especially, is heightened, which is beautiful, because any dreams and manifestations you have, that is going to be 10x naturally, because you're in lockstep with the universe right now. But just be careful, slow down, make wise decisions, because your intuition knows. So yeah.
Very great advice, Queen. Very great advice. That 9 is so universal. So anything that you did do 1 through 8, it's time for you to take that to the next level too. It's time for you to get universal with it and see how you can use it to help humanity, not just yourself. Make it more open to more people, be more universal in your approach. And that's something that I'm looking, to do here in my not in the 9, universal year,
Yeah.
being more open and not being so boxed in with the way you think. 9, you want to be really open minded. And like you said, the humanitarian energy, it can be very impulsive. And as we know, 9 rules fires, explosions, guns, and knives. It's argumentative number. It rules alcohol, so be careful drinking. It's a number of accidents and injuries, so be careful driving. No road rage, no drinking and driving. And be patient and compassionate, and use the humanitarian energy of that 9 to help you to see through when you're in a situation that requires patience, that others may not be exhibiting patience. Maybe you can be that conduit to bring that back down to a normal plane. So it's just understanding those things, and it's important. It's important to know those things and understand your energy. That's why numbers matter, obviously. And that's numbers. And we just went through 1 through 9, guys. So, let's give them the 9. So, if you're in the 9 personal year, 9 universal year, if you're born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, or if you are an Aries or a Scorpio, or in a minor way, Leo, this is going to be a significant year for you. So these are the types of things and the energies that we just talked about may be more heightened for you this year. So again, just make sure you're aware of that. And you take heed to that energy so you're not just out there in the wrong place at the wrong time trying to swim back to shore against a riptide. When you
Yeah.
know your personal energy, you can the instructions to swim with the riptide across
Yeah.
the ocean horizon instead of trying to swim back to shore. So it can really help you navigate the rhythm of your life. So that's what we do. So
Totally.
thank you so much, Queen, for coming on and having this discussion with me about personal years. It's been very enlightening. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I would like to say definitely check out my planners. It's just so nice to walk in alignment because I'm sure both of us can attest. Once I learned my numbers, it has helped me so much. It's also given me a lot of clarity about my past years. Going back, I'm like, oh, okay. If I would have known what I know now, I could have had some better outcomes. And again, everything happens how
Absolutely.
it's supposed to. But when you're in your alignment and you're really intentional about, okay, what's my energy, when can I rest, when is it time for me to put my creative all into something, it 10x's whatever you want to do, and just helps with those growing pains a little bit. It definitely, and it gives you compassion for others as well, to know what other people are going through. And then you can, okay, why is my friend being a little distant? She's in a 7 year, it helps so much. And also, we didn't speak on it just quickly. 11 is also a personal year that you can have. Very
Yes,
rare, more rare, but 11, if you're in an 11 personal year, buckle in and really shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon and shoot for the stars. You're going to be spiritually awakened. You are going to be just have all of the universe's power behind you for whatever it is that you want to do. So just take that as a sign. 11s don't need much because it's such a powerful master number. But yeah, just enjoy your 11 year.
what I would tell a person if they're an 11 personal year, yeah, what I would tell a person if they were an 11, a master number 11 year too, make sure you get out into nature because that's how you're going to
Mhm.
receive a lot of these downloads that you're going to be inclined to get. So get out in nature, get back in tune with yourself, meditate so you can get
Yeah.
these downloads and make sure you have a pen and a pad ready to write these things down for when they come because you don't want to forget them because these are downloads from the universe and these are things that can change the course of humanity. So you can be in an 11 personal year. You can also be in a 22 personal year. So if you are in the 22 personal year, it's the same advice for the 11 year, but it's then now to double down and be practical about it. What can you build practically for humanity? That idea you've been nurturing, that you've been thinking about, look to put the plans into motion, look to get that blueprint out. And this is what you want to use these energy for. Anything else with the 22 personal?
Yeah, 22 is like an amplified 4. So you're building something probably much on a grander scale. So a lot is probably going to be asked of you, but you're ready at that point. So just lean into it because big projects and big things will be coming your way in that 22 cycle for sure.
That's right. That's right. So that's the energy, guys. Make sure you visit everydaynumbers.card.co. Make sure you go follow the queen on Instagram at everyday numbers with two S's at the end and on TikTok at everyday numbers. Make sure you guys support this queen and get the planner. Get the planner. And if you want, check out the website and get a reading with the queen because it can definitely help you and we want to support each other and this work that we're doing can definitely help the family, so that's why we do it. So make sure you guys go enjoy that. Any last words, queen? I know we just had last words, but anything
Yes,
else
no,
before we go ahead and get out of
thank
here?
you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Your platform is amazing. You're amazing. So detailed, everybody. Like, she is so on it. She does not miss anything. So stay tapped in with this woman. She is doing great things in this space. And I'm just grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, queen, for those words, and thank you for coming on the platform, and we're going to give you a big round of applause. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much here, and I thank you for your beautiful energy, queen. I want to thank Grace Sarkor so much for coming to us live from Bali, by the way, which is amazing in itself. Thank you to this queen for her astronumerology wisdom and for her everyday numbers. So make sure you go visit her and follow her on her platforms. I want to thank the Universal Supreme. I love us for tapping into Unit 10 of Numbers Matter podcast. Until the next time, peace, love, and numbers matter.